On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
It's feeling like summer.
It is smelling like spring.
You said today, it smells like spring outside, and it does. It feels like sunny and happy.
And happy. Oh, God, all the rain. I'm sick of it.
Oh, my God, finally. We're getting what we pay for.
Mm-hmm.
We have been on the move lately.
We have airports.
Airports, airplanes, Ubers.
Ooh, on foot.
Oh, just walking, getting our steps in.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Geoffs. We just got back from Chicago a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah, we have to tell you about Chicago. Well, we'll go more in depth on Patreon. But which you can subscribe to at patreon.com/cultleader. We had such a fun time. Obviously, the Zach Bryan concert was
so fun.
So fun.
Very cold.
It was cold, but it wasn't. Well, actually, the first night we were there, it wasn't that cold. And do you remember we were walking and it was like not really raining, but there was a thunderstorm happening, like lightning?
Yeah. When we touched down on the flight, when we were about to land in Chicago, there was lightning all over the sky. And I don't remember ever being in an airplane where there's lightning around. And this is on the tail end of me doing that episode on lightning strikes. Yeah. And I was so nervous because we're in like a tin can up in the sky. Lightning's going to want to strike us.
I saw some guy posting on TikTok. He's like me acting like everything's fine when the plane is falling from the sky so my wife doesn't get scared. And I was like, that's me, because I'm always sitting there like...
Remember I looked at you on the way home? I said, I'm freaking out because there was turbulence. But when we touched down in Chicago, I was like, oh, thank the Lord, we made it.
Yep.
No lightning.
Nothing.
Whatever. We're in the Uber though, and the Uber driver's like, oh yeah, there's a tornado warning tonight. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, you can't say this in front of her.
No, I'll freak out. But we were fine.
We were fine, and we stayed at a really cute Airbnb in Old Town. Mm-hmm. We walked around. We went to museums. We did a ton of stuff. Again, we'll go more in depth on Patreon.
The star was Dom's Supermarket.
Oh, this little neighborhood market.
Oh, the best.
Loved it. But most of the time that we were home during the day, we were sat in a bed in the living room watching, we watched a few like documentaries, and then we re-watched the Wonderful Wild Whites of West Virginia or whatever, which is one of my favorites. It's so wild. But then we were like, what else can we watch? And 1,000 Pound Sisters popped up as a suggestion. Oh. And you were like, oh, I've never really watched this.
Yeah.
And neither had I. And we'd both seen clips of it.
600-Pound Life. All of those. But I've always heard so many things about 1,000 Pound Sisters, and it did not disappoint.
Oh, we binge watched it the entire time.
Ask me everybody's name in the whole family and extended family. I know it.
And I mean, the standout of the show is really Lil Bit. Oh, the dog.
Lil Bit.
So sweet, so cute, but it's a wild show. I'm not a big reality TV person. In comparison to you. Because you're like reality TV queen.
Yeah.
But I was sucked in and just like walking around my house with headphones on, putting my phone out while I was like cleaning. Just addicted, truly.
Did you finish it yet?
I'm almost done. So Tammy, one of the sisters, spoiler alert, just got married.
Okay, but you're not at season 5 yet.
I think I just finished the season finale of season 4, so I have one more season to go.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
And I hear I'm in for it.
You're in for it. It's sad.
I love
sad.
Amy.
Yeah, but Amy, season 5, you're like, Amy, get it the fuck together.
Oh,
and
shit.
like Tammy is actually like the likable
Okay,
one.
don't tell me anything else.
Okay.
Don't tell me anything else.
Okay.
I feel like we've been making everyone watch. I had someone over the other night and I was like, oh, what should we watch? I guess this. And like I made him watch it. And then your sister was at your house the other night.
Yeah, and she cried the first episode.
Yeah.
She was like bawling her eyes out, like, I just feel so bad. I'm like, oh my God. And then I made Cisco watch it. We're just getting everybody on the train.
Yeah, that's just our latest hype right now. We're really into that.
We really want to go to Dixon, Kentucky.
Yes.
Okay.
We want to. We want to go visit. I want to see the house. It's like going on like a Hollywood tour of a set. I'm like, I want to see where everything's happening. Take me to the rehab center. I want to see it where the wedding happened. I want to go to the parking lot where they pulled up in the van to walk down the aisle at Amy's wedding. I want to see it all.
That was so wild.
Wild. But prior to that, right before we went to Chicago, like 2 days before, we went out to lunch with our friends Chris and JV.
Yes, we did.
We went to
for your birthday.
Yeah, we went to Cicconi's, which is a fave. Done birthdays there before. As we were leaving, who do we see?
Give me the credit.
Madison spotted her.
Give me the credit.
I'm giving you the credit. America's sweetheart, America's mother, Connie Britton.
Connie Britton. I saw that red hair and I knew.
And she's wearing a cool jacket. And I do not get starstruck whatsoever. I mean, maybe if I saw one of the 1,000-pound sisters, I might fangirl a little bit.
Amy or Tammy, I'm passing out. Are you kidding me?
I'm asking for a photograph. Like, I would never, like, ask for a picture. We've seen so many stars. But Connie Britton, for those of you who don't know, binge watched Nashville last year. I was so obsessed with the entire show. I thought it was so good. I mean, the last season was terrible, but Connie Britton is just a star. I feel like she just has that like mommy energy, and
beautiful.
I feel like she's like soothing. I just love her. I just love her. Okay, going back to. We watched 1,000-Pound Sisters with your sister, but then I went over to your house because we were watching the Oscars.
Boring.
And why was it the most... Well, I don't like award shows in general. I think they're boring.
Well, I love award shows for the performances. And for just the fuckery that can happen. I mean, remember Will Smith fucking got up and slapped Chris Rock? Like, I live for those moments.
I also like a flub. Do you remember when they announced that La La Land one, but really it was like Moonlight or whatever?
Oh, well, okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But all of the performances were boring except for the Ryan Gosling I'm Just Ken. I thought that one was great. But all of them were very short too.
Yeah.
So didn't love that. But I thought that Al Pacino, God love him, I thought that he flubbed when he was announcing Best Picture.
Oh, yeah. That was a little weird.
It was like a letdown. It was like he opened up the envelope. He's like, my eyes see Oppenheimer. And everyone was like, what?
Oppenheimer and
Poor Things.
Poor Things won everything. And you've seen Poor Things.
Loved it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I need to watch it.
You need to watch it tonight.
God, that's a commitment. How long is it?
Long. It's like 2.5 hours.
Oh, God.
But it's beautiful.
You know I'm like a 90-minute cap.
No, I know.
I'll like fast forward 3 hours or whatever. Put it on in the background or something.
Oh, my God. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I have an email about somebody else flubbing a
Ooh.
I love that flub is like the word right now.
Sure. Last week dichotomy is this week's flub.
Flub. Okay. We got a listener email. The subject was, this pastor ruined my childhood best friend's funeral.
Oh, no.
And we haven't really talked about somebody leading a funeral. We've talked about coffin confessors. We've talked about that. But it really is important. Same with a wedding. Who's going to marry you and who's going to bury you? Right? You got to have someone good.
You're getting married. You're getting buried. You got to find the right guy.
You do. You really do. And that's why we're starting our own business.
Where we will become ordained ministers. And we will not only marry you.
We'll bury you.
2-for-1 special, baby.
Ooh.
Okay, let's hear this email.
Hi, Spencer and Madison, and an extra hello to the adorable pups. My name is Raina, and I work in a pediatric emergency room in the laboratory, and I listen to your podcast on my ride to and from work. You can say my name. It's pronounced Reyna. I know y'all probably won't say it wrong, but just to make Madison less worried about saying it. Okay, thank you. I remember hearing you on the Morbid podcast for the first time, and I absolutely fell in love with your energy and got my mom into your podcast recently. I love a mother-daughter
duo.
Yes.
Love it.
I actually started the conversation with my parents recently about what they want for their funeral/burial requests because of listening to your podcast and knowing about all of the options that are available now made it less daunting, which we absolutely love hearing that.
Yes.
I wanted to share a story from my best friend's funeral that happened last year. It has officially been a year since their death as of today, and I felt like it was time to share what happened during the funeral service.
Sorry for your loss.
I know. I'm so sorry. Losing a childhood best friend is hard.
You know that.
Yeah, and I'll be talking about that later, actually. To start, they passed away at 24 years old from diabetic ketoacidosis, which can be fatal to those who have type 1 diabetes, as it's hard for them to regulate their blood sugar. I'll go into detail at the end of the email. For their funeral, her mom asked a longtime family friend of her grandfather, who was a pastor, to come and do the service. Her mom said that she asked the pastor to come in and say some words of comfort, but not, in all caps, make it religious. My best friend was not by any means a religious person. She was actually on the opposite end of the spectrum and owned tarot cards, crystals, the whole shebang. Her mother respected that and didn't want anything religious for the funeral. Not only did the pastor ignore her request, he went on for more than 2 hours during the service talking about himself, his upbringing, his father being a pastor.
What?
And how he believed that the current generation uses too much medication nowadays and they really need to go to God instead because he is your medicine. And it should be noted that my best friend was diabetic all of her life and needed medicine like insulin to live, as well as her antidepressants, which helped her a lot throughout her adult life.
What a dick.
Fucking dick. Now, I know I'm paraphrasing here, but this was actually pretty close to what he had told us at the service. I couldn't believe this man made someone's funeral about him. I stayed composed throughout the entire 2-hour rant that this man had about the newer generation and how God was the only savior and how kids who use drugs will go to hell, etc. Jesus. During the service and viewing, I was understandably emotional and cried a lot throughout the entire service.
Sure.
Because she was the closest person I had to a sister, and we grew up together in a small town. But I actually stopped sobbing and bawling my eyes out during his speech because I was so angry and upset at what he was saying. I had brought my twin brother along for emotional support, and the whole time this was going on, we kept looking back and forth at each other in disbelief. I held on to the fact that as soon as he was done speaking, we wouldn't have to listen to him again, but I was wrong.
Oh no.
And he decided to speak for another hour and a half at her burial site before she was being lowered down. Jesus. This time talking about how he became a pastor, his childhood, and how he worked hard to be where he is today, and how the new generation has it too easy. I was hearing her family members whisper to each other during his second speech, saying things like, "This is the last time we invite him to one of our events."
Fuck, I hope.
And I agreed with them. I stayed at her mother's house after the funeral and spoke to her about this, wondering if this was what she wanted for the funeral or if it was some kind of mistake. And she told me that during both of those speeches, she was holding herself back from getting up and yelling at the man to shut the hell up because it was so disrespectful to her daughter's memory. She obviously regrets inviting him and really hoped that he would just say a few comforting words and read a simple passage that she picked out for him to read, but he clearly didn't listen and went his own route. She wished that she just went with the employees at the funeral home because they offered their services when she was setting everything up. I look back at the funeral with mixed emotions, but the main thing I have now is just laughter because that was something my best friend did during these situations. It was infuriating during the funeral and I still get upset thinking about it at times, but I know that wherever my best friend is now, she would be laughing at how ridiculous the whole scenario was because that was just the type of person she was. I should note that when the pastor wasn't speaking, the rest of the service went very well. Her family spoke spoke about memories with her, and I also had a chance to say some loving memories I had shared with my best friend. We also set free some monarch butterflies once she was placed in her burial site, and it was all so healing. Some of the butterflies even hung around us for a while and sat on her grandmother's finger for a bit and enjoyed the sunlight. Now, if this was an Am I the Asshole, I think we would all agree if her mom ended up yelling at the pastor, she would be in the right. But what are y'all's thoughts? We absolutely agree.
100%.
God, I would love to hear y'all's reaction to this email on air if you have time. And please let me know if you end up reading this. It would make my day. And if y'all have any questions pertaining to the laboratory, I'll answer them too, which I'm sure we will have.
At some point.
I've been doing work in the lab for about 4 years now, and 4 hours now.
Wow, congratulations,
Congratulations, honey.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah,
How long we've been in the lab?
God. 4 years now and love it. I'm still fairly new compared to my coworkers, but I continue to learn every day. I wrote this email because I felt like after a year of healing and mourning my best friend, it was time to share the ridiculous story about how easily a pastor can ruin a funeral. I still think about her all the time and even have a journal where I write to her on what's happening in the world. I love that.
That's sweet.
I really love that. And she says so many just beautiful things about her best friend and the podcast. And then she also gives some info on diabetic ketoacidosis, which is very, very interesting.
Well, definitely the priest or the pastor does sound like the asshole.
Yes.
And so I think it's the perfect time that we move into some Am I the Assholes?
Okay, let's do it.
And this first one says, Am I the asshole for thinking we are still deserving of our inheritance?
Okay.
My dad was a horrible dad. He has been a raging alcoholic since I was young, wasn't involved in our life, lived to drink. My parents separated a few years ago, but their divorce only became final a few months ago. He ended up being found dead in September through a welfare check. Per his will, his assets were to go to my sister and I. This included the house we grew up in and a few $1,000s he had in his bank account. Turns out he never refinanced the house, so per my mom's attorney, that automatically made the house my mom's.
Okay.
She put it up for sale, and I didn't question it going to her until I got a phone call from the title company the day before closing on the house, telling me they needed me to sign papers saying it was okay that all of the proceeds go to my mom. This was a red flag to me. Why would they need my permission for this if it was clear cut that the house was my mom's? I asked the title woman and she said as she understood it, at least half was to go to my sister and me. But that she was told we were relinquishing any rights to the proceeds and that she needed that in writing.
Oh, I'm sensing some scandal.
I asked my mom about this, and she said it was just a misunderstanding and that her attorney assured her that the house proceeds were hers and not ours. She then accused me of accusing her of cheating us out of money and said that the house was legally hers, and that's that. Even if it ends up being true and the title company was mistaken, morally, I feel like as though it would be the right thing for us to receive the money. My mom received her share of their assets when they divorced. His assets were to go to us. Yes, there was a possible technicality there, or we just got taken advantage of, who knows. But the man did nothing for us his entire life, and now we lose 90% of our inheritance over his failure to refinance the house before his death. My mom's upset I brought this up, but I find it morally incomprehensible that we lose our inheritance to her, and she sees that as perfectly fine. Who's the asshole here?
The mom.
The mom, 100%.
100%. It just feels sneaky.
So they don't list ages or anything here.
Okay.
Which I did think about because I'm like, okay, what if they're under 18 or something?
Well, then why would the title...
why would the title company be reaching out to them?
Yeah, if they were under 18.
It seems sketch. People in the comments were like, yeah, your mom's an asshole. You should probably reach out to some sort of lawyer for it.
Yeah, see it all in writing and
then make the decision.
Yeah,
because you're not an asshole for finding out if you're to receive your inheritance.
Right. I feel
like the mom was shady. A little shady. And
that's heartbreaking.
I know.
That really is. Okay.
And then we have this one that's kind of reminiscent of one from the past.
Okay.
It's infuriating. It says, am I the asshole for wanting to go to my ex-girlfriend's funeral?
Okay.
An ex passed away, one which I had known for a long time. I'm talking since elementary school age. I know her mom on a first name basis, even though I haven't really seen them in the past year. Me and the girl stayed in touch respectfully, just occasional happy birthday text. We follow each other on socials. I think we both liked to know what was going on in each other's life, even just from afar. She's someone I've never had anything but good words for, someone I truly loved. We just weren't right together, and of course I want to pay my respects. I'm not in all-out mourning, but I am crushed, rattled, and on top of it, my girlfriend of over 2 years now is turning this whole thing into something extremely dramatic, claiming it's unfair to her that I would need to go to an ex's funeral, that any girlfriend would be upset by this and question their boyfriend's loyalty. It seems crazy to me, but maybe I'm just not thinking this straight. I'm just so confused right now.
No.
Am I the asshole?
There's nothing to be confused about. The person is dead. For his girlfriend
Loyalty?
to be threatened by a deceased person?
Insecure and insane.
Go to the fucking funeral.
Go to the funeral, absolutely. And they added an update that says, first off, I appreciate all of you. Sometimes you have no frame of reference, and hearing some outside input helped give me some perspective. Basically, after our conversation today and everything leading up till now, it's feeling that this may have been a breaking point for us. Not officially broken up. Honestly, no part of me wants to have that conversation during this time, but I'm not sure we could reconcile this. My emotions are all over the place. All I know is I'm going to the funeral. Today, it feels even more real, and I'm honestly just lost right now. I don't mean to make this amazing girl's death about me, but I do need some level of closure. Thanks again, all.
Okay, well, good.
Good.
We have had a lot of those.
Even if I was dating someone and they were like, I could tell that they just were still in love with that person, I'd be like, well, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, go.
Well, then you have to worry about ghost sex.
Oh, true.
Ghost marriage. I mean, maybe I'm going to change my answer.
Jealous.
Yeah.
But just the line that said like, well, most girls would be, any girlfriend would be upset about this and question your loyalty. It's like, no, not everyone's delusional.
And it's not like a recent ex. It's like a childhood.
Yeah. Get help.
Please get help. Oh, God. Well, I am up first this week.
You are.
Which means you should have a side bitch.
I got one for you.
You just have a side bitch every week.
I do. Can we tell them what happened last week?
What happened last week?
That you didn't like your obituary, and so I gave you the side bitch.
Well, the week before that, you didn't like yours. No, you read one that you already did read.
Yeah.
You were reading it, and we were both like, this sounds familiar. And so I gave you one.
I know. It doesn't happen a lot, but we had like 2 flub weeks.
2 flub weeks.
Okay. My side bitch this week is actually an incredible story, and you've probably heard about it. It's for Paul Alexander, who has lived in an iron lung from polio since 1952, and he just passed away at the age of 78 years old. Have you seen this?
I have seen, maybe it's not him, maybe it is, but I've seen a guy in an iron lung.
Painting? Did you see him painting?
No, but wait. When we were at the Muter Museum, we saw a real life iron lung in Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
We saw a real life iron lung there.
Uh-huh.
And they're nuts.
Nuts. I mean, this guy lived in one for his entire life.
Oh my God.
It says polio struck Paul Alexander in 1952. This is from NPR, by the way, when he was just 6 years old. Within days, the disease robbed him of the use of his body, but he fought through the illness using an iron lung for more than 70 years.
Wow.
And inspiring people with his determination to live a full life. He painted, wrote a book, and worked for years as an attorney.
What?
Paul took a lot of pride in being a positive role model for others. His friend Christopher Ulmer, who organized a GoFundMe page for Alexander in 2022, said in a message to NPR, "More than anything, I believe that he would want others to know they are capable of great things." Alexander died on Monday at the age of 78. according to a notice by the Grove Hill Funeral Home and Memorial Park in his hometown of Dallas, Texas. Ulmer says he first met Alexander when he filmed an interview with him, and the two stayed in touch afterward. Ulmer launched a donation campaign for Alexander after people betrayed his trust and left him in need of better living accommodations, he said. In response, people donated more than $140,000, which is incredible.
Wow. We need to do a coffin spinner on an iron lung because I don't know how they work.
It allowed him to live his last few years stress-free, Alexander's brother, Philip, said in a statement shared by Ulmer. It will also pay for his funeral during this difficult time, and it's absolutely incredible to read all of the comments and know how many people were inspired by Paul. I'm just so grateful. The disease progressed quickly in Alexander, shutting his young body down in a matter of days. He survived thanks to a last-minute tracheotomy, and from there, he set out to push beyond the limits of his condition. Holding a rod in his mouth, he was able to turn pages in books and create art.
Wow.
He went to high school, college, and law school, and later in life, he used a rod to type out words on a keyboard to write his autobiography, which I feel like he probably has a very interesting perspective on life because he lived locked in this machine for his entire life. It's just like, it's wild to me that with all the advances and everything we've made, that there was no way for him to be medically removed from this device.
Yeah. My uncle had polio but lived a full life too. I mean, he was killed when he was 21, I believe, but he went to high school, everything, but he had braces.
Oh, yeah.
But he lived a full
We had a substitute teacher in school who I remember when I was in elementary school had braces and because she had contracted polio when she was a young girl. But yeah, that is
incredible.
Pretty incredible life.
Doing more than most people.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
An attorney, an author,
artist, everything.
Wow.
Incredible. Well, we're going to take an incredibly short break. And when we come back, we will hear what had you spinning in your coffin.
All right. And it's sad.
Oh, great. Again. God, Jesus. I hope you fucking lighten up next week.
I will.
Handle another sad one. Okay, we'll be right back. And we're back. What had you spinning in your coffin this week?
Well, girlies, I wanted to dive into a topic that I think gets overlooked sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, our whole show is centered around death and the deceased and some insane ways people have passed away. But I think that it could be interesting to talk about the living for one.
Why not?
I've heard the term survivor's guilt a bit, but I never really looked into it. So this week I did.
You know what? We were kind of talking about that a little bit because one of the documentaries that we watched while we were in Chicago
was the
9/11 survivor story of that woman who was a fraud.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was like sitting there thinking like, oh, I should do an episode on this because she talks about this insane guilt that she felt from 9/11.
Well, and she led support groups and stuff. Okay. I'm excited.
I found it's like such a personal, often misunderstood diagnosis that typically arises after a traumatic event, but it's really interesting. And me personally, I've used the phrase before, like, I'm lucky to be alive. Like remember right before my wedding, I like totaled my car? And it was scary, but I walked away unscathed. Right? And I was like, okay, I'm lucky to be alive. And nobody else was hurt, so there was no guilt there. But then the closest memory I can try to relate it to was when my childhood best friend died. This was like 10 years ago. And I remember we hadn't been close for a few years before her passing. And we went down like two totally different paths. But at her funeral, her mom, I remember, grabbed my hands and was crying. And she said to me, she was like, I wish that she had just stayed with you.
Oh my God, that makes me want to cry.
It was hard. And I did feel like a guilt at the time. However, I didn't witness her passing or like was around her. So I, of course, was so sad that she passed and it was horrific, but I didn't have a survivor's guilt.
Right.
So, but a lot of people do struggle with it. An article on healthline.com broke down survivor's guilt in a really easy, like non-medical jargon way, saying, quote, Surviving a traumatic event can bring forth conflicting and completely normal feelings. Grief for those who didn't survive, but also relief and gratitude and an overwhelming sense of your own good fortune. You might also notice some distressing emotions. Many people who live through trauma and other life-threatening situations go on to develop survivor guilt, which refers to strong and persistent feelings of remorse, personal responsibility, and sadness. While survivor guilt is often associated with large-scale tragedies, acts of terror, genocide, and other mass atrocities, it can also show up in other situations. For example, after experiencing military conflict, when working as a firefighter, police officer, emergency medical technician, or other first responders, after living through a natural disaster, after witnessing a mass shooting or other act of violence, when a sibling or parent experiences abuse, when a loved one receives a diagnosis of a genetic condition or other life-threatening conditions like cancer, or if you've kept your job, stayed healthy, or otherwise thrived during the COVID-19 pandemic, which I didn't think about, there's survivor guilt there for sure. Survivor guilt is considered more of a symptom than a specific mental health condition, but that doesn't make it any less serious. Left unaddressed, it can lead to long-term emotional distress, including thoughts of suicide. It also goes on to say, other signs of survivor guilt resemble symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. In fact, the new edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM, lists guilt and self-blame as symptoms of PTSD. Many people with survivor guilt also have PTSD, though you can experience one without the other. But most of the examples that I want to talk about, PTSD is right there with it.
The second you started talking about it, I was like, I feel like I kind of put those two hand in hand.
Totally. Well, because they usually are.
Especially with people who survived combat wars and stuff and natural disasters.
Yeah. A tragic incident that kept popping up during my research was the sinking of the Titanic, which hit an iceberg in the Atlantic Ocean in 1912. I'm sure we all know the story of the Titanic, but there were 2,240 passengers aboard the boat, and only 706 survived. And obviously, this was an extremely traumatic situation. I mean, I'm sure everybody has some sort of PTSD.
I've seen the movie. You know, they made a movie about this?
Yeah, and it's heart-wrenching.
Came on 2 VHSs.
I bet Rose has some survivor guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Remember that? They would have to split movies into two?
Yeah.
Okay. Of those 706 survivors, roughly 10 to 15 of them died by suicide after.
Oh.
Now, we don't know exactly why they died by suicide, but I'm sure that there was survivor guilt and PTSD at play. But one man who famously struggled after surviving the sinking of the Titanic was a man named Frederick Fleet. And Frederick was a crewman on the Titanic. And among other duties, he was also responsible for taking shifts in the crow's nest. The crow's nest is like one of those ship's lookouts.
Okay.
It's like you have to climb up it. It's high up. And the Titanic had 6 of them. And he would have to do 2-hour shifts at a time on the crow's nest. And he and his coworker had to do a 2-hour shift the night that the Titanic sank. They were looking out into the dark ocean. And I read that it was a very calm night that night. There were only a few stars out, not a lot of waves. So it actually made it more difficult to see anything. But they spotted that iceberg and it was 10 miles away. They weren't able to alert the crew in time. Then the ship scraped the iceberg and sunk within a couple hours. Frederick was then in charge of rowing one of the lifeboats, which is how he ended up surviving. But apparently the whole time he was rowing out of there, he was sure that he was going to be blamed for the sinking.
Oh man, that's a heavy burden to carry.
A heavy fucking burden. He obviously wasn't blamed for it, but he felt tremendous guilt for not only only surviving, but also he had asked over and over and over again for binoculars during his shifts on the crow's nest, and no one ever got him binoculars, and he felt that somehow he could have prevented this tragedy. We know now that obviously he couldn't have,
right.
But he suffered feelings of survivor guilt his whole life. He eventually married and had a daughter, but when his wife passed in 1965, a few days after that, he hanged himself in his garden.
Oh.
I know. So sad.
God.
Speaking of the Titanic, remember last year the Titan submersible that imploded?
How could I forget? Oh, well, I was like, yeah, is that last year? But yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
last
we're in a
year.
new year.
I know. It imploded on its way down to view the wreckage of the Titanic, which is...
Nobody survived that.
Nobody did, I know. Well, LA Times interviewed a man named Bill Price who got to take a trip on the Titan submersible. Obviously, not the one that imploded, but before that. And he says that he has survivor's guilt because he not only is grieving the lives lost, but also knowing what could have happened to him.
Yeah.
Which I think I would feel that way too. Like, fuck, that could have been me.
Sure.
Very scary. Okay, Spence, you talked about this next incident that I want to talk about. You talked about plane crashes, and you talked about the day the music died.
Yes.
The plane crash that killed Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. Okay, well, I didn't know this, that country music star Waylon Jennings has survivor's guilt from that crash because he was supposed to be on that plane. Waylon was Buddy Holly's bass player at the time, and the rest of his band was going to drive in the tour bus. I guess the tour bus kept breaking down. Buddy Holly was like, I'm flying. Well, I guess the Big Bopper was supposed to go on the bus ride, but he had the flu and asked Waylon if he could take his seat on the plane instead. And so I guess Buddy joked with Waylon, like when he heard that he wasn't going to be on the plane, I guess he was like, I hope your bus breaks down. And Waylon was like, I hope your plane crashes. I know. And the plane crashed, and Waylon says,
I don't think I would tell anyone I said that.
I would never. But he is quoted saying, God almighty, for years I thought I caused it. Oh, there are so many gut-wrenching stories out there from Holocaust survivors. That was a big one.
Oof, heavy.
War veterans, school shootings, mass shootings, 9/11, who all experienced PTSD from those events, but also massive guilt.
Yeah.
Another one was the Pulse nightclub shooting.
Horrific.
One of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history. 49 people died. 53 were wounded. But a woman named Patience Carter was among one of the wounded. She had gunshot wounds to both of her legs. She survived. While she was recovering, she wrote a poem about survivor guilt. It goes, the guilt of feeling grateful to be alive is heavy. Wanting to smile about surviving, but not sure if the people you are with are ready. As the world mourns the people killed and viciously slain, I feel guilty about screaming about my leg in pain because I can feel nothing like the other 49 who weren't so lucky to feel the pain of mine. I never thought in a million years this could happen. I never thought in a million years my eyes could witness something so tragic. Looking at the souls leaving the bodies of individuals, looking at the killer's machine gun throughout my right peripheral, looking at the blood and debris covered on everyone's face, looking at the gunman's feet under the stall as he paces. The guilt of feeling lucky to be alive is heavy. It is like the weight of the ocean's walls crushing uncontrolled by levees. It's like being dragged through the grass with a shattered leg and thrown on the back of a Chevy and being rushed to the hospital and told you're going to make it when you lay beside individuals whose lives were brutally taken. The guilt of being alive is heavy.
God.
Sad.
It is.
It's fucking really sad.
I mean, imagine how heavy that would feel.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't want to try to imagine it. Okay, let's talk about the Lincoln assassination. Just really quick. We all, I'm sure, know about President Lincoln, who was assassinated.
Allegedly assassinated.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. It happened at the Ford Theater in 1865. Well, a man named Henry Rathbone and his wife, Clara, who was also his stepsister, by the way.
Oh.
Okay, stepsister.
What are you doing, stepsis?
Yeah, I'm just doing the laundry. I'm stuck in the dryer. I'm just stuck in the dryer.
Come on.
Okay, they were friends of the Lincolns, and the night of Lincoln's assassination, Henry and Clara sat in the presidential box at the theater with the Lincolns. So it was Mary Todd Lincoln, President Lincoln, Henry, and Clara. John Wilkes Booth comes in, shoots Lincoln in the head.
Sure.
Henry tries to apprehend Wilkes Booth, but instead Wilkes Booth stabs Henry in the arm, which actually severs an artery. Henry eventually loses consciousness because he's lost so much blood. The whole theater is in chaos. Lincoln is likely dead at that time, and it was just insane, right? Well, Henry was taken to a hospital. He was saved and had a 2-week recovery, but he was absolutely changed after this incident. He obviously suffered major PTSD, but every article written about him talks about his survivor guilt and about the fear that he lived with from that day forward. And he also went into like a deep depression because he could not save Lincoln. His survivor's guilt and PTSD manifested in so many ways. He became insanely jealous towards his wife, always in fear that she was going to leave him or that something would happen to the kids. And he ended up actually killing his wife, stabbing himself 18 years later. He survived the self-inflicted stabbing, but his wife Clara obviously didn't. And then he sat in an insane asylum until his death in 1911. But everything gets attributed back to his intense survivor's guilt from the night.
Idea.
I know. I didn't know. I've seen pictures or like drawings of the box that Lincoln sat in and like John Wilkes Booth like coming in.
Yeah. I didn't even know there was another couple with them, really.
Yeah. So that's the story of the couple that was with them and the survivor fucking guilt that went along with it.
Oh my God.
God. And then I'm going to end with something actually uplifting from a 9/11 survivor.
I'm going to end with something a little on the lighter side, like 9/11. Okay.
No, like the most tragic thing. I want to read this post from medium.com written by this person named Jada Gomez. In 2021, they wrote it, and it was titled 20 Years After 9/11, I'm Giving Up My Survivor Guilt. I had big plans for September 11th, 2001. I left my childhood home in Queens that morning, dressed in flared jeans with patches below the knee. As I hopped on the F train at 179th Street and Hillside Avenue, Crystal Harris's song Supergirl from The Princess Diaries played on repeat in my Discman. I was just a teen, a sophomore at NYU, headed to class, and counting down the hours until that evening, when I'd meet up with my friends to see O-Town perform live. That day didn't go as planned. Instead of dancing and singing at the top of my lungs with my girls later that evening, I found myself holding my breath on an empty, silent train ride from campus. Up until that point, my dad had worked at the World Trade Center for my entire life. So I had already experienced breaking news reports about terrorist attacks at the Twin Towers interrupting cartoon broadcasts. After the infamous 1993 bombing, he called home to say he was safe as I watched the aftermath on TV. An elementary school kid at the time, I didn't fully grasp the magnitude. After all, my dad was a superhero to me. And in my young mind, I couldn't fathom either of my parents ever dying. The events of 9/11 changed that for me. I spent hours on that nightmarish Tuesday, wondering what life would be like without my dad as I watched clouds of black smoke billowing in the sky from the rail-thin safety of NYU's Weinstein building. I saw people covered in dust, running in the opposite direction of the destruction while solemn-faced firefighters drove toward it, sirens blaring. I watched an older woman strike a photographer with her purse. She demanded that he'd stop taking photos of misery. It was all so overwhelming. It's triggering to see photos of the towers burning while scrolling Instagram or to watch Twitter clips of humans falling from the sky alongside office supplies. My dad witnessed these moments firsthand and his fears palpable in his stories. I'm forever thankful that my father made it home that day, and I know that those unforgettable hours of agony and angst were nothing compared to the massive loss tied to 9/11. I still feel an everlasting connection to children I watched on nonstop news broadcasts, holding up photos of their their loved ones in the hopes that they'd be found at a hospital still alive. 20 years later, it feels like being a part of a group bonded by grief and guilt. It's one of the reasons I'm dreading the 20th anniversary of that cloudless day in New York City. Over the past 20 years, I've watched the anniversary of 9/11 morph from a day of solemn reflection into one overrun by clickbait and conspiracy theories. For one, I'm glad that my remote work lifestyle will shield me from some of those intrusive images. A couple years back, a coworker sat at a table in front of me and watched the towers fall on YouTube over and over again. She had little connection to the event. She was much younger than me and didn't reside in New York or DC when the attacks happened. Me, I was there, in Manhattan. I smelled the carnage and flames. Those images, along with large crowds and blaring sirens, instantly transport me back to the fear of 9/11. Her voyeurism is my visceral trauma. I know that this year's anniversary holds more weight than those in recent memory, given that it's a milestone. 20 years ago, I didn't know much about self-care, but now as an adult, I'm drawing some clear lines. For one, I've already begun limiting my time on social media. There's no need for me to scroll through hurtful conspiracy theories, political agendas, or horrific images that will only cause more pain. Most years, I share a picture of my dad and me as a child to remember my blessing that day. This year, I'll post it in advance. My heart can't take never forget captions this time around. I'll skip the TV specials this year unless it's giving a platform for the stories of the survivors. I'll never stop taking a moment to listen to them. Their loved ones are all that matters as we commemorate 20 years of their unimaginable losses. As I reflect and do my own soul searching this year, one thought keeps popping up. I was just a kid. I've carried so much survivor's guilt in my heart since I was a teen. Now that I'm in my 30s, as I look back at that bubbly girl, I just want to hug her. I wish I could give her back that day. I wish that she got to watch a cheesy boy band concert with her friends, that she never saw the smoke and destruction, the towers toppling. I wish she got to spend her early years at NYU without NYPD spot checks, a smoldering ground zero, and the start of a decades-long war. These are all things my dad reminds me of each year. He said I was robbed of my youth and my NYU days. He wanted me to have the full New York City experience, to catch live shows outside of the World Trade Center and meet him for lunch sometimes. For 20 years, I thought that would be terrible to lean into. My dad survived and others didn't. But with maturity, I realize now that both feelings of grief can exist. On September 11th, 2021, I plan to wake up and thank God for another bonus year with my dad. I'll listen to the reading of the names of those we lost. I'll clutch the kids whose parents did not come home close to my heart. No more guilt, no more shame. I'll give myself the grace to unplug from the never-ending pseudo-commemorative scroll and simply feel what I feel.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, right? Very sad, but beautiful, I think.
Well, it's just like, you know what? Sometimes you have to think like, yes, I mean, obviously it's sad, but it's also like, these are just emotions that we feel as humans, and there's, you know, it's life, part of life.
You and I deal with OCD, and we both deal with the what if thoughts always. Like, what if I didn't unplug this? What if the stove is on? What if this happens? What if that happens? Like, I can't imagine having those what if thoughts tied to like a real incident, you know, like,
or it might shift your perspective a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
Maybe. Like I said, like, it's a very personal experience.
Yeah.
Survivor guilt.
Oh, for sure.
So
100%. Well, thanks for that.
There you go. Next week we'll come back with something wild.
Well, I'm actually going to take us on a wild ride today.
Perfect.
But we're going to take a quick break first. And when we come back, I'll tell you what had me spinning in my coffin.
Alrighty.
We'll be right back.
And we're back. Spencer, just bring us up with this coffin spinner, okay?
Okay, I'm bringing you drama this week.
Ooh.
Because for my coffin spinner, I decided to get into some funeral scams.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, this will be a topic that comes up again in future coffin spinners, but today I decided to narrow it down to GoFundMes and panhandling.
There is a GoFundMe for everything. I sent you one the other day that was like, I need a pack of cigarettes. It's like a $15 GoFundMe.
Well, we're going to start with the latter because it's something that I've always been curious about. Okay, so I saw this literally on Monday, I think, when I was driving to the gym. But have you ever been driving, stopped at an intersection, and there's a group of people holding up signs asking for donations to a funeral?
I think the same people stopped me because I was on the way to the gym.
Uh-huh.
And I felt like a dick, but I just ignored it.
You won't after this.
Okay.
So it turns out that, I mean, even though there's probably a teeny tiny chance of earnest people asking for a lending hand, 9 times out of 10, you can bet it's a scam. Sorry, but if there is in fact a hell, pretending to collect money for a funeral is probably a first class ticket.
Yeah.
Now let's get
an economy ticket, honey.
Now let's get into some stories and expose this nonsense. And one of the first instances that I read about was from the Orange County Tribune. And this was back in June of 2022. And a bulletin was posted by the police because the Garden Grove police were driving and they spot this group of several males holding signs asking for donations to pay for funeral expenses for their aunt who had passed away.
Okay.
I mean, let's keep it real. Being the driver and when you're like parked at a red light, it's awkward enough when there's somebody, you know, asking for money or something. And like, I never have cash or anything. So I'm always like, I don't know. I don't want to look. But when they're holding up a sign, like, please help me pay for my loved one's funeral expenses, you feel extra shitty. You're like sweating. Your eyes are like forward.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't even see out the window. I don't even see you there. I don't know. Like, just fucking
No, I'm
look
like,
ahead.
please turn green. Please turn green. Please turn green.
Okay, well, officers pull over when they see this group of guys because the woman whose photograph was on the signs was a woman that they recognized. The officers realized, or like saw this photograph and they realized that it's one that's been floating around, I guess, in a bunch of different internet scams of people asking for money.
Okay.
And so the cops start asking questions. They're like, oh, so this is your aunt, huh? Like, how do you know her? And all the people flee in different directions. But one of them was later detained by police. And they basically put out this bulletin as a caution to people, like, be weary of these people. And I'll never forget, I was actually living with an ex at the time. It was the first time I'd ever seen people holding these signs for a funeral. I remember thinking, like, oh my God, I think I gave them money. I was like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
that is so sad that you have to, like, you know, you're out here asking for money. It's just, it seems sad. Mm-hmm. But I truly cannot think of anything more deplorable. Mm-hmm. But then I stumbled upon stories of women pretending that their babies died in an effort to cash in on this. From ABC, September 2nd, 2010, quote, Rancho Cucamonga, California, a woman says her baby died and she needs money for the burial. But in reality, there's no baby, just a con artist hoping to get your cash.
Oh, you are an asshole.
So, Caroline Mathis, 19, from Paris, California.
Oh, oui.
a different Paris, a little bit of a different vibe. Was arrested by Rancho Cucamonga police. They say that she was using a poster to solicit funeral donations for Michael James Mathis, who apparently passed away at just 4 months old. Police say that is a lie. Her story was a complete scam, said San Bernardino County Sheriff spokeswoman Jody Miller. She did not have a child, she did not have a deceased child, and she was subsequently arrested for panhandling. If you're wondering about the picture of the baby, it was apparently picked up from Google Images. Police say Mathis was cited and released, but she might be back at it again, and it might go even further than that. Apparently, there's a man who is orchestrating this scheme with a number of women in several cities all around the area. So this is like a fucking ring happening, okay? Apparently, what happens is he drops off up to quite possibly 5 different females with these posters stating they have deceased children, that they need help with the funeral arrangements, and that they're requesting donations. Well, unfortunately, people see this and people feel bad for her, and it's my understanding they're making hundreds of dollars a day with this big scam. While some panhandlers may be seriously desperate, this scam illustrates that not everyone can be trusted. The sheriff's department is reminding the public that panhandling is a misdemeanor crime. Since there was fraud involved, Mathis could be charged with conspiracy to commit a crime, a felony. Okay, and if that's not bad enough, in La Puente, California, a man was out on the streets holding up this big sign collecting money for the funeral of an 8-year-old boy named Jose Mendoza. Well, somebody snapped a photograph of the panhandler, and people noticed that something was off. That's because the photograph was none other than Gabriel Fernandez, an 8-year-old Palmdale resident who was murdered by his mother, Pearl, and her boyfriend, Asaro.
Wait, that's that documentary, Gabriel.
Yeah, it was highlighted in the 2020 Netflix production, The Trial of Gabriel Fernandez. So this piece of shit fucking took the picture of this kid.
Poor boy.
It's fucked. People really have no boundaries and no morals, I guess. Know. But this isn't just a California issue. This past November, KTUL reported a similar situation in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Tulsa police came upon a group of 5 panhandlers holding up funeral signs of an 8-year-old boy as well, collecting hundreds of dollars from do-gooders in the community. They're holding these signs up. The signs are saying they basically need money to raise for a funeral for a child that had died in their family, I guess, in a car wreck. They're unable to prove that's even fact, said Danny Bean, the public information officer. They couldn't prove that they immediately knew it was a scam, but an immediate red flag for the police department was that these panhandlers were not wearing reflective vests. Panhandlers are legal in Tulsa, but you must wear a reflective vest and you must be out of the roadway, which is interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Why would I? I don't know. But they were collecting around $250 to $300 a day.
Damn.
Doing this scheme as well. It's one of those things where it's like, of course, people, especially like people that are perhaps a little more naive, are going to look at that and be like, oh my God. Or like, I feel like especially like people visiting areas, like tourists and stuff. I mean, same thing, or kind of
course.
Like, oh. But so they were doing like an investigation into those people. But what I think they should have to do,
what?
As far as charges, I think they should have to go hold a sign saying what they did.
Yes.
Stand at whatever intersection or whatever. Wherever they were.
There's an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Vid has to stand outside of a restaurant where he stole a fork from, and he has to wear a sign that says, I steal forks. And he had to stand like outside of it. That was his judgment.
I love it. Well, let's get into the GoFundMe section, which is one of my favorite things to talk about in general. Madison, you know, I've talked about wanting to start a podcast called Go Fund Yourself and just read wild GoFundMes. Because listen, I love, community care. And I think that 9 times out of 10, it's a great resource to help people who need it. However, I have seen, and you have as well, wild ones that are so out there that it's like, I cannot believe this person is asking for money for this reason. And it's just wild. But that's for another day. Today, we're strictly talking GoFundMe funeral scams.
Okay.
As we know, funerals are a costly venture, so it makes crowdfunding tools like GoFundMe the perfect vehicle to ask for assistance in covering some of the more extreme costs that come with burying somebody. However, much like our panhandlers, we got a percentage of people who shamelessly lie in an effort to collect funds. Most often, users will snag a picture from a stranger's Facebook and throw up a fake obituary, write a sappy story to convince readers of the GoFundMe why they should donate. But in recent years, many fraudsters have capitalized on well-known tragedies by pretending to be family members of victims of violent crimes. And not only is this extremely obviously disrespectful to the deceased, but their families as well. I was reading about this man from the Bay Area named Richard Lynx, who was struggling with immense grief after losing his wife, Catherine, who had passed away from cancer after 31 years of marriage. The scam ran deep. Basically, he goes and looks at his Facebook page one day, and there's a GoFundMe posted on his page with a photograph of his wife, Catherine, asking for assistance, and it read, "Please donate in Catherine's memory. Richard needs your help." He's like, what? I didn't post this,
Yeah.
So he tries to go into his account and delete the post, but then he realizes he'd been locked out of his own account. Richard told ABC7, he's like, to have this sort of evilness foisted on me is the worst possible thing. Just stomp on me, why don't you?
Yeah.
And I mean, my poor wife, she would be horrified if she was here witnessing what was going on. She would be so furious, he said. The hacker messaged friends of Richard asking for donations. And of course, they're like, oh my God, Richard, of course, we'll help you.
Yeah.
Only to find out that Richard wasn't behind this at all. His friends, eager to help out again, reached out to ABC's 7 on Your Side, who alerted GoFundMe of the fraudulent account, which ended up getting taken down 3 days later, and the money was returned to the donors. But Facebook refused to take any action at all, of course, because these companies like Facebook, Instagram are run by fucking robots. There's no human contact. You can't talk to people there.
Yeah.
They denied several attempts Richard made to have the post removed and just kept sending generic automated emails back to him. I don't know. It takes me back to the rage I felt when we were talking about how companies react when somebody dies and they're
Yeah.
like, well, show us this or prove this or whatever. Like, oh, we can't help you. But I don't know. It's just, it feels very heartless. Like there's nothing personal about these big fucking corporations.
Yeah.
But I have to end with this insane story about a 33-year-old woman from New Jersey. Her name is Holly Garcia. And in June of 2020, friends of Holly were gutted to see that her 4-year-old son had passed away from cancer. And she had shared this GoFundMe campaign to help cover some of the funeral costs. So she did have a son. Mm-hmm. He was no longer in the picture, but a couple comes across this post. They lose it. They contact the authorities because they had adopted Holly's 4-year-old son from her. Oh. She had signed over all the parental rights, everything. And so she gives her son up for adoption and then pretends he died of cancer and asks for money. God. Investigators found that the campaign was started by Holly Garcia, the boy's biological mother, who had signed away her parental rights, the prosecutor's office said. In an article, Business Insider said, further investigation determined that Garcia had created multiple fictitious GoFundMe campaigns seeking money for the following: an urn for her dead son's ashes, assistance for her 4-year-old son who's going blind in one eye and whose father had died, assistance for her unborn child, a stroller for her 2-month-old son who was born premature, and assistance raising rent money for an apartment because she claimed she was 4 months pregnant and homeless, the Facebook post said. So she's running all kinds of fucking scams out there. Garcia was taken into custody on September 24th and was released, the prosecutor's office said on Thursday, adding that she had been charged with second-degree computer criminal activity and third-degree attempted theft by deception. Her case will now go to a grand jury. The prosecutors said that GoFundMe took down Garcia's campaigns after law enforcement officials alerted it to them and that she was never able to collect any of the $11,350 that she requested.
Wow.
Dumb ass.
You know, when you were telling this story, I was thinking about when I first got TikTok, I started following this girl who was going through VSED, which is like a voluntary something of eating and drinking. Like she was going to stop eating and drinking.
Oh my God, I remember this. I remember this lady.
Right. I think her name was like Hope Stripes or something. And I remember she was in hospice and going to be doing this whole thing. And I remember everybody watched the videos that she posted.
Yeah.
And was like, if there's anything we can do. And I think she like launched merch and then she went away because I don't think she ended up passing away, but it was like...
She was a liar.
She was a scammer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. Well, luckily for us, Beyond the Dash threw up a blog post about GoFundMes and obituaries, the do's and don'ts of crowdfunding for a memorial, and they tell you what signs to look out for, everything. It says identifying and avoiding shady fundraisers. According to GoFundMe, less than 0.1% of campaigns are fraudulent. However, the impact of one fraudulent campaign can be devastating for those who are scammed. Here's things to watch for when donating to a memorial fundraiser. Fake deaths. Pseudocide or faking one's own death is more common than you might think. Mm-hmm. There are many nefarious reasons to fake one's own death, but most people attempt to do so for financial gain or to escape justice. Creating a fake obituary can help legitimize a fake death in order to gain monetary donations, both of which we've talked about, but they say a lot of people will create fake obituaries in order to scam people on GoFundMe.
Or to get out of work.
Which
like
is,
that
yeah.
Dumb criminal.
But this is kind of the modern way of like faking your own death. They mentioned that like a lot of times people will create GoFundMe accounts for when there is like a tragedy in order to take advantage of it. Like I feel like that woman in the 9/11 documentary who pretended to be a victim probably would have been the first at the GoFundMe like, please help me out. But then it says asking for funeral expense donations in an obituary. Families often publish an obituary as part of their memorialization of a loved one who has passed. Obituaries announce the death, provide funeral service information, and in many cases provide charities that mourners can donate to in the name of the person who has passed. These days, it's not uncommon to see a GoFundMe link for the benefit of the family for funeral expenses in an obituary. It can be awkward to ask for money, but most community members are happy and even hoping to donate to a family who lost one of their own. In fact, giving others the chance to do something tangible can be mutually beneficial, as donating can help ease the feeling of powerlessness, and being able to give is a gift in a sense. And I do think that's true. Like, there are a lot of times where, like, maybe you're not super close with someone, so it's like, maybe you're not close enough that you feel like, oh, I can go drop a meal to this person, or you don't have the ability to do so logistically. But I would always be happy to be able
Donate
to do something. Yeah.
Alleviate survivor's guilt.
Yeah. Some of the burden, like the financial burden that comes along with all of this. Yeah. I just thought, I don't know. It's just it's one of the worst things I think you can do is, I mean, pretending to collect money for a child who has cancer, or
you're preying on the things that universally pull at people's heartstrings.
Well, it makes people less trusting because I mean,
like the boy that cried wolf. When someone really needs it, we're gonna do a double take.
Like, or like really question it.
Yeah.
It sucks, but that's what people be out there doing tomfoolery.
You need to do a part 2 if you have any new ones.
Oh, I've got a lot of scams to talk about, but yeah, we'll have to come back for a part 2 on that. But for now, I think we should move into some obituaries.
Alrighty, well, you had a painter. You talked about a painter in your side bitch, and I have a painter.
Like, what are you talking about? I
have an obituary for a painter, an incredible one, named Picasso. Did you ever know about him?
Is it the pig who painted?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, it was a girl. Sorry. Picasso's a girl. This is from USA Today. Picasso, the world's most successful animal artist who created expressionist paintings, died at 7 years old, according to the pig's Instagram page. She would have turned 8 in April. From slaughterhouse to the world's most accomplished animal artist in history, your life was simply extraordinary, writes Joanne Lefson on the pig's Instagram. Your life made a difference in the world. She described Picasso as intelligent, gentle, creative, and extraordinary, and says she felt so very fortunate to have collaborated with the pig. According to her legacy page, Picasso's artwork raised millions of rands, which is South Africa's currency. Revenue made from her art supported and funded the farm sanctuary where she lived in South Africa. It also supported other charities that resonated with her mission. According to a statement on Picasso's website, the artist's physical health quickly deteriorated in September 2023. By the beginning of October, both her legs were lame. This was caused by the calcification of her lower spine being aggravated by chronic rheumatoid arthritis.
I was going to ask because I looked up the lifespan of a pig while you were talking because I was like, that seems really young.
Yeah.
And they normally live 15 to 20 years.
Oh, I want one. The website states her conditions were directly linked with the manipulations and modifications that farm animals are subjected to on today's industrial factory farms. The website states Jane Goodall, famed conservationist, was a big fan of Picasso. After hearing about the artist's condition, Goodall flew out to the sanctuary to visit her. Unfortunately, she arrived a day too late. Picasso passed away before the two got a chance to meet. The day after, Goodall shared a tribute for the pig at a gala hosted by the sanctuary. It raised 300,000 rounds, which is $16,000, for the activist youth action program, Youth and Shoots. According to the Instagram post at the gala, Goodall was presented with Picasso's Goodall's Swinging Chimp, a painting of a G with a monkey swinging on the bottom of the letter. It was especially painted for Dr. Goodall to honor her visit and appreciation for all she does for animals. Picasso was rescued by Lefson. Lefson rescued her as a piglet in May 2016 from a factory farm in South Africa, weeks before she was supposed to be sent to a slaughterhouse, and took her to the farm sanctuary. I know.
Rest in peace, Picasso.
Look at this incredible art. Look at her.
It's actually good.
It is.
Like, you'd see that at Home Goods.
This thing also has a list of her accomplishments. Really quick. Picasso made paintings for Prince Harry, the Queen, Donald Trump, and more. She designed the 2019 Swatch watch. It sold out globally within hours. In 2021, she broke the world record for highest selling artwork ever painted by an animal when she sold Wild and Free to a German buyer for $25,000. Rest in peace.
Who inherited her?
Wait a second. She also had her own line of swine wine, which is available for purchase at the sanctuary. She is a business
Accomplished,
woman.
booked and busy. What a life. What a legacy.
Also.
Okay, well, I have one for a human that was sent to us by a Geoff, and it says, Linda Townhill, age 74, a longtime resident of Plainfield, Illinois, died on January 29th after a long and harrowing battle with Comcast. She was born December 23rd, 1948 in Joliet. The daughter of the late Robert and Clara Schmidt, wife of late Jack Townhill, mother of late Jill Ryan Telesky, list other surviving relatives. She leaves behind 2 overfed pets and a sink full of dirty dishes. Linda was a homemaker and a good witch who was the founding member of Gilltown Incorporated. She will forever be remembered for her liberal use of free speech, pioneering winged eyeliner, and intricate pranks played out with friends and relatives. Linda loved curating beautiful things, tending her plants and flowers, and feeding her hummingbirds. To balance this, however, she was also a believer in Twinkies and daytime court shows. She detested housework, bureaucracy, and nitwits. On October 8th of 1967, Linda married renowned musician and bootlegger Jack Townhill. They proceeded to cause trouble together for the next 47 years. They enjoyed spending warm days in the garden where they told funny stories and cracked jokes to their children, grandchildren, and friends. At Linda's request, there will be no funeral or memorial service. Instead, she asked that friends and loved ones visit their local conservatory in her memory. In lieu of flowers, memorials to the Chicago Botanic Garden or crank phone calls to local politicians would be appreciated. To plant a tree in memory of Linda Townhill, please visit our tribute store.
Oh, I love that.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
It felt like a light, easy one. I don't know. You feel good after.
Yep.
We got a glimpse of you, Linda. We love you.
We love you, Linda.
Rest in peace, girl.
I think it's so real that she had dirty dishes in her sink.
I love those daytime court shows.
Hell yeah. And Twinkies.
Yeah. Well, we have spun in our coffins.
We've bitched our obituaries.
That means it's time for some dumb
ass
criminals.
Okay.
I've got one.
Okay,
let's hear it.
Okay, I have a Florida woman.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, and the New York Post reported this. A Florida woman pleaded with the SWAT team officers to not confiscate her sex toy while they were searching her backpack for drugs last week.
Oh my God.
Quote, "Don't take my dildo," she asked of officers from the Martin County Sheriff's Office while conducting a search warrant around 5:45 a.m. on November 21st of 2023. Police searched 27-year-old Ariella Messina's backpack. Inside, they found loose yellow pills in a bag stashed inside a pack of Newport cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
Crystal-like substances.
Woohoo.
And a blue vibrator.
I think it's Crystal Light.
No.
I love Crystal Light.
And so do I.
Remember that?
Love Crystal. My mom would always have like a jug of it.
That and fucking Slim Fast.
Slim Fast. Oh, yeah.
Staple of the 90s mom house.
Yeah. Crystal-like substances and a blue vibrator. Officers wrote in the police report that she admitted that the backpack was hers and she was aware of the contents inside.
Sure.
The pills were later identified as Teva 3926 diazepam pills, better known by the brand named Valium. The crystal substances tested positive for Crystal Light. I'm just kidding. For meth. Messina, who was on probation for previous cocaine conviction, was one of 5 individuals arrested at the Jensen Beach residence after police seized cocaine, meth, drug paraphernalia, and brass knuckles. The drugs were inside of a locked safe, and she was booked at the Martin County Jail with 2 felony charges of possession of a controlled substance without a script, and she's being held in lieu of a $10,000 bond, but there's no word on whether she got to keep the dildo or not.
Oh, don't take her dildo. Let her have
Take
something.
the other stuff. A dildo's not illegal.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Well, I have one that goes in line with my coffin spinner this week, and you'll remember this story, I think, because it was pretty popular. This is for Caitlin McClure and her boyfriend at the time. This story made the rounds because It was fucking insane. Basically, this woman, Caitlin, she's 32, and her boyfriend at the time, Mark D'Amico, created a GoFundMe raising campaign on GoFundMe. This was back in November of 2017 for this man named Johnny Bobbitt. They were like, we got to help this guy. He's a homeless veteran in Philadelphia. And they wanted to raise $10,000 so that he would have enough money for like an apartment, a car. It went viral and they ended up raising $402,000.
Didn't the veteran, like, didn't he help them in some way? Like, he, like, gave them money or something?
They said that he had, like, in the GoFundMe, I think they were like, oh, he helped us out, and, like, now we want to repay this, like, this man with a big heart. Well, instead of giving all of the money to Mr. Bobbitt, Miss McClure and Mr. D'Amico spent the bulk of it on a BMW, gambling, Louis Vuitton handbags, a trip to Vegas, and a helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon.
Oh, my God.
In 2018, Mr. Bobbitt sued Miss McClure and Mr. D'Amico, saying that he had received just $75,000, but soon afterwards, the entire scheme fell apart and all three ended up getting charged because he was full of shit as well.
Really? Were they all three in on it?
They were all in on it. Yeah, it was like all a completely made up story. And all of them, including Mr. Bobbitt, ended up going to prison and had to pay back restitution.
Fuck.
I know. Fucked.
Dumbasses.
A special place in hell. Mm-hmm. We say it all the time.
Absolutely.
Oh, shit. Well,
I guess that's it. Thanks for looking at us.
Thanks for listening. For looking. We do have a book coming out called The Big Hot Book of Death, and you can purchase a copy at prh.com/obituary, and it's coming in just a few months. I'm getting so excited.
I'm so excited. It's going to be here before we know it. So pre-order, please.
Please get your pre-orders in, and that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with some more coffin spinners
and obituaries
and dumb
ass
criminals. Goodbye.
Goodbye.